Hello, everybody. Saints man, small van driver on the CX. It's week in the life of, which is from the 20th of February. It's Sunday evening, 6:35. I don't know when this will go out. There's been quite a few gone out, so this may go out either later tonight or even tomorrow morning. It was a great week. Yeah, first week, as the title even suggests, hit the target first time this year and went well through the target as well. So, yeah, is it picking up? Yeah, hopefully. But a lot of guys struggled as well. So, and the work hasn't got to the levels that it should do, really. So, whether I was just a bit lucky in places where I got to. Also, I didn't tramp, I hoteled Airbnb first time this year on Monday night. Let's go back anyway. Fuel prices. I'll go through them now. UK, my BP UK fuel card was the cheapest this week. Last week at 125.47, which worked out at £1.50 and 56.56. So that's pretty good. But I already know next week it's gone even cheaper. Took me Oracle. Next week it is 146.94. But yeah, 150.56 is a huge saving because diesel is still running at about 168. So 18 pence a litre, and I'll do 1,500 miles normally in a week. I don't know how many litres I use, but it's a good saving. Anyway, back to Monday the 20th. I had a job booked in, and it was pick up Rushden, going to Slough. And it was an early pickup. It was a 7 o'clock pickup, but it didn't happen at 7 o'clock. I got to Rushden, and they had the order go in, but they hadn't picked it, and it was whiskey, gin and vodka. It was a pallet of alcohol, but it was like the craft artisan. Does that make sense? Artisan. It was special local brews, but it was going to a big company in Slough who distribute it. Anyway, okay. I didn't leave until about 7:30, and given the do, they put another tenner on the job, which is fine. I did phone up and say, look, I'm going to be waiting a while. They said, let me know when you leave. And it was just over 35, 40 minutes. Pallet was a good weight, 360 kilos. But I say, with my new van, the Doblo, I've now found out I can carry over 850 kilos plus plus a full tank of fuel. So it carried it easy. Anyway, we got to Slough. Good area normally, Slough. What time did we get there? About 10ish. Got tipped by about 10:15. Got tipped really quickly, actually. Given the do, they was queuing up as well. Because I'd only got one pallet, he got me straight in. And then a job's popped up. And there was about 5 drivers in the area of Slough, within a 5 mile. And all of a sudden, jobs started pinging out of Slough. And there was one to Norwich, 3 drops, and then Norwich. I thought, okay. And I went to bid on it. I worked the mileage out. And the 3 drops were sort of going up towards Norwich. And then another job come out of Slough, and then another job, and there were 6 drops. And what it was luggage from Heathrow that had to be delivered to people's houses and whatever. I quoted on the Norwich one and put that in. And I thought, actually, I quite fancy doing the longer ones because Norwich wasn't that long, and there were some that were longer. So the phone went before I could put any more quotes in, and it was the shipper who had got all these jobs, and I says, I am interested. I said, I know I've quoted on the Norwich one, but I'm interested in doing the longer one. And I got £1 a mile. I did 7 drops altogether, and it was £1 a mile over 265 miles. So a really good money, 265 quid. I know it's 7 drops, but they're all going towards, and I ended up at Haverfordwest. I did 1 drop in a RAF base. I think it was RAF base near Swindon, just past Swindon. I did 1 in Bath, the centre of Bath, 3 around the Bristol area, but none in the centre of Bristol. And then I did 1 in Cardiff to a travel lodge, and then ended up at Haverfordwest, the westest point of Wales. That was the downside, probably, because I was never going to get a job out of there the next day, and I was never going to get home because this was going to take me a good while. And so transpired. But what I did when I got to Cardiff, when I did the last one in Bristol, I quickly checked on the feed, knowing I'd end up in West Wales if what was going. Nothing going that evening, so I knew I'd end up hoteling it, Airbnb or back of the van. And there was a job on there, two jobs. One from Cardiff to somewhere which is a long way from Haverfordwest. Can't think where I was going to. And there was one from Swansea. And the one from Swansea was the next day going to Feltham near Heathrow. And I decided there and then to put a bid on that one. And strong bid for the Tuesday. And then I carried on doing my job, went to Cardiff. And by the time I left Cardiff, the phone went and he says, "Are you going to be all right for this job tomorrow at Swansea, tomorrow morning?" It was an 8 o'clock pickup in Swansea. And I said, "Yeah," which is brilliant because you got your load out of Wales is notoriously bad past Swansea. There isn't a lot past Swansea. It's Swansea and then it's nothing. And it's a good distance to nothing. I don't think I've ever got a job out of Haverfordwest. So to get the job in Swansea, I then decided I hadn't booked an hotel, nothing. And I was on my way to Haverfordwest. And I knew I'd get there about 7. And I thought, well, let's see what the distance is from Haverfordwest to Swansea. Whether I carry on driving to Swansea and try and get a hotel nearer where I'm picking up, or whether I stay in Haverfordwest. But it had been a long day. I'd done a fair few miles, and Haverfordwest was 70 miles from Swansea. So I decided, I looked at hotels. This is at 7:20 in Haverfordwest, and there was nothing cheaper than 70 quid, which is like, nah. So I thought I'm going to end up driving to Swansea and keeping in the van here at this rate, because, you know. But then I looked on Airbnb, which I'm a member of. I've used Airbnb loads of times for our motorbike trips abroad. And there was one in Haverfordwest for 35 quid. I thought, you know what, I'll reserve it, I'll go for it. And 35 quid, yeah, I'll take that because I made really good money that day. Really good. Got good money going down to Slough. And I got 265 quid as well on top. I was 350 quidish. So I could afford to spend 35 quid and have a bed. And it was a lovely stay. It was a stay with a retired couple. They got a big bungalow. I'd got my own double bed. I got en suite. I used their kitchen. And I got there just after 8 o'clock. And they said, "Wish you knew you were coming. We'd have done a dinner for you." But I said, "No, I've got food. Breakfast, if I wanted it, was included." But what I said to them, I said, "Look, I'm going to be away at 6:15 in the morning. It's really just somewhere so I can get a good night's sleep." Absolutely superb. Uh, Secure parking on their drive. It was great. It was just great. I would go back, I would go back actually if I was on holiday, want to stop for a night, on the motorbike. So that was Monday. A long day. It was a 13-hour day, but it was good money. And I'd got a job Tuesday out of Wales, which is a result, especially not travelling too far. I did get up. I left the house about 6:15, and it was only 70 miles to Swansea. It wasn't even in Swansea. It was north of Swansea, about 8 miles to the left of the M4. Yeah, the M4 starts about there. And I got there. I had a stop, used the conveniences at the first services before I got to the stop, and grabbed myself a coffee. And I got there at 7:45, and it was one box, a small box as well, literally shoebox, going to a company. It was eventually going to America, but this was a forwarding company that they do all the foreign stuff for Heathrow, and that was that. So Tuesday was to Feltham, and then I got to Feltham, and I'm looking for a job. Then I did the whole length of the M4, from Swansea to Feltham, every single mile. It bores me, but hey. And I'm looking for a job. And I sat at Tesco's, a good purchasing spot, guys. If you're around Heathrow, is to go to Feltham, the Tesco's, the big superstore in Feltham. It's right near the end of the runway. You see the planes coming in, and you get 3 hours. And it's a good purchasing spot. I think so. The first time I've used it, but I would recommend that. Tesco's in Feltham. And I was there about an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours before I got a job. And the job I got was a job to Wallingford, and it was from Brentford to Wallingford. And it was it's sort of Oxford way. It's sort of to the left of Oxford, and it was only I can't think how many miles. It wasn't mountains of miles. I quoted £1 a mile and got the job because Wallingford it's in nowhere, no man's land. But it got me nearer home, and I could drive home after that. I'd got good money going down from Swansea to Felton, goodish money. Not as good as the day before, but goodish money. And once I got to Wallingford, I thought, I can drive home then if I need to. Because when I got to Wallingford, I delivered, I sat in around Wallingford, and another job popped up, and it was Watford. It was next morning. Watford Village. I've got it written in front of me to Stratford. I ain't got my glasses on now. Stratford on Avon, which I quoted on and got at a really good price for the next day, and it was an early pickup, 7 o'clock. So when I got to Wallingford, I decided the best thing is just to drive home, just to poodle on home, and which I did. And yeah, got home, and I weren't home too late. I did 9 hours that day in total. Swansea to Feltham, hung around for a couple of hours, did the second job, and I was home in under 9 hours. So an early finish for me, really. I was done at 4:15, no problem. Um, so the next day, I got this job, first job, small job, 37 miles, and I got 47 quid for it. And it was a roll of felt and a load of brackets in a bag. And it was going to Stratford upon Avon, which, yeah, I was going to be there at 8 o'clock at Stratford. So I was ready for any jobs. I'd already decided the best thing to probably do, Stratford, is to move up nearer Coventry, because Coventry's a really good area. Round Warwick, Leamington Spa, on that 46, I was going to perch somewhere there. But that didn't come about because the job in Stratford was right next to Waitrose, the other side of Stratford. It was a housing estate. And there was a job on there which I didn't think, would be in my range. But it was from Bourton on the Water to Wokingham. And it looked on there and I thought, oh, is that too far down? But it wasn't. It was under 20 miles, about 17 miles. And I just knew that there weren't going to be many drivers around that area. And the actual job itself was 70 miles to Wokingham. And I quoted 87 because I've got to get there. So it's £1 a mile, every mile. And he phoned me up. He was quite happy because them areas, there's no one around. So someone's got to do the job. So you're hoping that you can put just enough in to get, worthwhile. And it was. I picked it up. I drove down at Bourton Water. Fantastic roads in the Cotswolds. Any motorbike will tell you. Morton in the Marsh, Stow on the Wold, all around there. Awesome. And we got to Woking, delivered it. Nice and easy. It was to a golf club. It was the Greenkeeper's Cottage in a golf club, which is where there's an interior design company, which they took it. And I pulled out of there. I needed fuel. And I went to the nearest UK Fuels, which is about 3 miles down the road. And a job popped up from Wokingham, which doesn't happen very often. And it was going to RAF Bryce Norton. Again, I thought there won't be no one wanting to go there. Because again, RAF Bryce Norton was the middle of nowhere. You go to sort of left of Whitney and it's along there somewhere. And I quoted good money on it and got it. And believe it or not, if I'd have stayed at the golf club, it was about half a mile just the other way down the road so it was 3.5 miles I was away. And I got it, and it was one big box, one large box. And it was for a company working in Bryce Norton, RF Bryce Norton. And the best thing about that, if you ever go to military bases, it is a pain in the arse getting in. Really is. It can take you a while. It can take you a while to find the right person to do it. Health and safety, obviously, military bases is going to be high. This had some in the notes that was top drawer. It said in the notes, pull up outside Bryce Norton, there's a visitor's car park to the left. Pull into the car park. As you pull into there, phone this number. The company that are working inside, they'll send someone out and they'll swap it and put it in their van. Brilliant. Saves a lot of aggro. And that's what happened. And I thought that was going to be it for the day. I'd had a really good day. I'd hit target. And I was drive home from Bryce Norton. Yeah, it was a distance to drive home, but I thought, you know what, that'll do. On the way home, I got to near Brackley on the 43. on my way home, and a job popped up from Toaster. Well, it was Silverstone, going to Milton Keynes. It's virtually on my way home. And I put my minimum charge on it. It was 19 miles, and I put a minimum charge. My minimum charge, I'll tell you now, is 30, and they accept it straight away. And I'd collected from this place right opposite Silverstone Circuit. There's a new business centres and loads of workshops and stuff over there. And I knew where to get it from, and I'd been to the delivery point, so it was easy. And it probably took me 5 miles out of my way from where I'd have been going home anyway. So it just topped the day off lovely. And got my pence per mile up. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, I'd got a job again booked in, and I was back down to Reading. It was 6 boxes from Daventry. I got to go to Daventry to pick it up. I got pretty good money on it, and I was down to Reading, right in the middle of Reading as well. It was printing, printing. What do you call them? The ink cartridges. It was 6 big boxes of ink cartridges. I'll get there in a minute. And it was going into an office block into Reading, and it had got to go to the 4th floor. And when I got there, it was smack in the middle of Reading. There was 2 vans on double yellows, hazard lights on, right round the corner from it, from where this big office block was, and they was delivering there. So I pulled up to them, got my 6 boxes out, got my sack barrow out, put a bungee on it, and locked my van up, and put my courier magnetic signs on to show that I was a courier, hoping that I wouldn't get nicked. Had a chat with the guy, said, "Are you delivering to here?" I said, "Yeah, we are. Exactly the same place you're going to as well, the same floor." And they'd got the actual monitors and the printers, and I'd got the inkjet cartridges for them. So although we were working with different companies, we arrived at the same time, and it was easy. Dropped them off, and I perched there at Tesco's in Reading. There's a Tesco's in the middle, superstore, just up a dead end road near the station. Absolutely ideal. And that's where I went. And I sat there and I sat there in Reading. I thought, I'm not going to get a job out of it at this rate. It really was. I was there for a couple of hours. And fortunately, a job popped up from Sandhurst to Wolverhampton. And I wasn't too far away from it. And I decided the only way I was going to get a job out of there was a fair few drivers, was to sack the dead miles and just quote on the job mileage. And I did. And I quoted quite keenly. I normally quote, it was not the lowest I quote, but I quoted quite keenly. It was about 73 pence, something like that, it worked out. And I phoned as well. Really nice gentleman. Really nice shipper. I've worked for him before. They've got really good feedback, and I think that's important. It's all right, drivers have good feedback. Your shipper's got to have a good feedback. If a shipper's got crap feedback, avoid, because there's a good chance you might not get paid. So, and he gave me the job. He said, yours is not the cheapest quote I've had as well. He said, but you've been bothered to phone me, because it didn't say not phone. I'd put the quote in e-quote. And he said, and I've looked at your quote. He said, you're in the ballpark. He said, I'm prepared to pay that. And also, I've looked at your feedback and it's top notch. So, great. Can you get there in the time? Yep. It's only one small box, and it was a small box. And it was going to Wolverhampton. So, great stuff. And that was a good earner as well, really. And Wolverhampton is 80 miles from my house, 70 miles. Can't think now. 75 miles, something like that. Anyway, because the famous M6. You go up the M6. I got some spaghetti just past there, whether it goes off the M5. You guys will know. Yeah, it slows down to 50, but it don't even do 50. It's doing 20, 30. And a job popped up. I ain't got far to go. I'd only got 20 minutes. And a job popped up. And this was about 2:20 to 3. And it was pick up 4 o'clock in Willenhall, going to Northampton. I thought, really? And it was a Northampton company that I worked for. A Northampton shipper. And it was to take it to his place. So I put a quote in while I was in traffic, and then I phoned up. And no, I didn't phone it. He phoned me straight away. And he says, Dave, you're right to do this job. I said, yeah, I'm tipping in Wolverhampton at 3. I'll get across there nice and easy. And he went, brilliant. I said, that gets me home. He said, I thought that. He says, so I'll send it over, which he did. So I did the second, I got the third job before I'd done the second job. But I dropped the second job nice and easy. It was a huge company. It's in a I-154 business park, which there's half a chance I'm going to get a ticket because there's only one way in. You can't go in the residential way. It's just buses, taxis only. My company was just round the corner, so I didn't. I went all the way around, about 2.5 mile detour, and went in the proper entrance to this huge industrial park. And mine was on the last bit before the residential bit, which it's got signs up. But I see the entrance, and I went towards the entrance, and I went through the bloody where the staff go. No, I turned round, did a U-turn, come out, and it was round the corner before the restrictions. So there's a bloody good chance I'm going to get a ticket because I went in it. I will appeal. I'll get my wife on it. Because in a small van, I just thought that was the entrance. So I've turned round, I've got my courier signs on, and it's just a genuine mistake. But it's a good chance 50 quid fine or 60 quid fine's going away. But anyway, we did it. And we got across to Willenhall, and the pickup was 4 o'clock, and I got some fuel. I used Sainsbury's in Willenhall. Got the fuel, so I fueled up and got across to this pickup point. Huge building. It was a metalworks, and I was collecting stuff that was eventually going to Belfast, but it was going back to the courier who was taking it to Belfast, and it wasn't ready. He come out, he was a lovely bloke. He says, it's not, we're still picking it. He said, it could be a while, mate. I said, that's fine. I'll sit here. I've got some paperwork to do. I phoned the shipper to say, look, I am here. It's not ready. And he went, just let us know. And it was 15 minutes tops. That's all. 3 boxes and 1 long box. It fitted easy. And I phoned the shipper, said, yeah, got the goods. I'm on my way. And he says, that's fine, Dave. And he put another tenner on the job for me. And I didn't even ask. He appreciates that I was doing the job for him. He'd obviously got good money in the job, but I was happy doing it for the money I'd got, even though I had to wait 15, 20 minutes, probably 20 minutes. And he put another tenner on it because what it done, it put me in really crappy traffic around Birmingham. I didn't leave till sort of 25 past 4. If I'd left at 4, I think I'd have got through that rush hour in Birmingham. But I was happy. I was really happy because it made another good day over target. So the first 4 days, I've had 4 really good days. I decided Friday, I hadn't got nothing booked in, and I hadn't even looked. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a lay in. I'd had 4 early starts. I'd had a 6:30 start, I'd had a 5:30 start, I'd had a 6 o'clock start, and 7 o'clock start. So I'd had 4 early starts. And I didn't start looking. So Friday, I didn't start looking on the feed until 8 o'clock, 7:45. And looked, and the first job that I quoted on a couple of jobs, nothing, and I decided to stay local or just do a couple of jobs, 1 into the Midlands, 1 back. That'd be it. Let's have a nice day. But there was a job on there that intrigued me. It was Rushden to London, and it was the centre of London, the WC1E or whatever, the real centre of London, congestion, everything. And I thought, there's not drivers going to want to do that. Not around that area, because you're not going to get nothing out. So I worked the mileage out, and I worked the mileage back, and I timed it so if I didn't get any other job, I'd still be all right money-wise. And I thought, if they give me it, then fair enough, I'll do that, 1 job, and that'll be it. And they did. He phoned me up, and it was taking repossession of a laptop phone from a house. Someone's been sacked or redundant. It was sacked, I think. So it could be a bit tricky. I've done repossessions before. You normally get a list of things they want you to pick up, you must pick up, and then you get the rest of it is like leads and headphones that if you can pick up. If you can't, I don't think they're bothered. But laptop, phone, and on this occasion a lanyard with a security pass. I must pick that up. So I got to pick it up at 10 o'clock, and I did. I got there 10 to 10, and it was a lady. She hadn't got a laptop bag. They obviously provided one, but she weren't giving that over. I said, that's fine, I got a bag. And everything went in. The phone was, in the end, I found the phone. She gave me the box of no phone, but she did hand everything over. So, and off went to Westminster, and it was Westminster right in the centre. Now, when you go to London, if you're going in the centre, congestion, you might as well go the shortest route straight down the congestion because you've got to go in it. you may as well do it as quick as you can. But on this occasion, I decided to go down the A5, and I'd got to go around the back of Victoria, Buckingham Palace, anyone who knows London, and it was on Victoria Road. And it was a huge office block, about 15, 20 floors, and red lines in front. And I've got a map. I've got a big screen on my other sat nav, not on my phone one. And I could see there was a side street before. I could see the building, but I couldn't go stop there. Red lines. And the back of Westminster Abbey was very close, so I couldn't stay there. But I took a punt. I took a right down this side street, and then when there was a left around the back of the building, and sure enough, that was the entrance for the goods. So just a bit of fluke. I fluked, absolutely fluked it. And he opened the grill. I went in. I always put my signs on in London that I'm a courier. On both sides of the van, I've got two magnetic signs. And so I'd put them on, I took them out. I have them inside the van at the back on the roof, so they're out of view of everyone. But when I go to London, I take them off and I put them on the van. So they know I'm a courier, not just any old, Joe Soap. And yeah, we got that delivered. And it must have been a secure building because they give you a security card for the lift. And the floor I was going to, you actually could only go to that floor. You couldn't go any higher. You could go lower, but you couldn't go higher. And the higher up it was, the more secure. There was 15, 16 floors. No names on any floors. You had to go to a security man. He'd give you the thing and you had to give him it back afterwards. It took a while, but it was all done. Nice and easy. And they signed it. They took everything off me. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to pull out of London and I'll have a little look. And if there's nothing, I'll drive home. And I went to my favourite perching spot in London where I like to sit. Because I'm a biker, I go to the Ace Cafe because they do a nice cup of coffee, they do a nice sandwich, and you put in the day, you got parking for your van, take your laptop in, you can sit in there, got massive width. Everyone goes to the Ace Cafe, just off the North Circular, North London, and I did. I drove up to it. I've quite done a couple of jobs actually on the way up, and it's Friday. And my experience, if you're in London on a Friday, to get a job out of London, anywhere, Midlands, West, North, you are going to have to do it for peanuts. And a couple of other YouTubers who I speak to, who's in a little group I'm in, it's the same. They've seen the same. I quoted on a job to Coventry, I quoted 65 pence a mile, and that's lower than I'd normally go, but I thought it gets me out, and it was near me, not even a sniff. And when I phoned up, I wasn't even close. Guys were doing it, about 7 quotes under 50 pence. I just don't do that. I'll go as low as 65. That's my backload rate to get home. I just don't understand it. It's what it is. It's what it is. Guys do it. Fair enough. You want to do it. You get your petrol money home. But I've got enough money going down to be able to do, go home. Even if I hadn't, I need it, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't. I'll probably biting myself here saying that. But yeah, so I sat at the Ace Cafe. I had a nice cup of coffee. It was nice weather behind glass. Sat there for about 3/4 of an hour to an hour. Chatted with the people there. Got some bikes on show. Just chilled out. Looking for jobs for next week, for Monday. There was a couple on there. Picking up and delivering on Monday. I quoted on them. Went to Newcastle. Didn't get it. Put in quite a high bid on that actually. But it was delivered at 8 o'clock on Monday morning, Newcastle. So I would have had to go up at 3. 3 to get it there. And get a quote on that. And there was one to Stockport, which I quoted on. That was picking up in Luton. On the way, I would have picked it up. No, didn't get that. And there was one Milton Keynes delivered to Edinburgh Monday 10 o'clock, which I quoted on. Again, I would have had to go at 3 o'clock. And I quoted high on that and didn't get that. So I started driving home. And that was my Friday. I just did one job. And I was happy. I over target. And it didn't quite finish there because just before I got home, I put a quote on a job for Monday, Daventry down to between Sussex, near Hastings. And I got a phone call. I've got a job Monday, tomorrow morning. And it's not too shabby. It's 8:30 pickup in Daventry. So it's not too early start. So all in all, a good week. Like I say, first time this year I've hit target. Although January, obviously, when I blew the turbo on the other van, it knocked January out the window really, and it hasn't really picked up until this week for me. For me, I don't know what you guys are like, whether it's picked up for you, but it has. And to end the week off, the Saints beat Gloucester yesterday. Fantastic game. It looked close on the scoreline, but we hammered them. And they played best they've played all year, the Saints. About time. And then we got home, watched the England game. Yeah, they won England, but they're not playing nowhere near where they should be. But it's a win. And then today we just chilled out. We've been out this morning and had a good chill out. Yeah, pretty good. So I'll go through the figures. I did 1,540 miles, and my duty time every hour worked out at just under 50 hours for the week. So a 10-hour average a day. I did a real long day on Monday, and I did a short day on Friday. On Friday, I did 6.25 hours. On Monday, I did 13.5, and the other three averaged out, 9 or 10 and an 11. So just under 50 hours. Did 34.5 hours driving over them 5 days, and my money was 1,036. Then plus VAT, it was 1,243.2, so 20 pence. I give 9% of that to the VAT man, so that leaves me with £1,131, 31 pence exactly. So 1,130 quid. It's not a bad week. And the average mileage, obviously driving home from London, back empty and all that, it ended up at 74 pence every mile from my house to my house. So all the dead miles included. So yeah, it's a better week. Gross was better. All in all, pretty good week. Got a job Monday that gets me going, get started again. I'm going to do a full week, hopefully, touch wood, next week. And hopefully it's going to pick up even more. It is slow. There's no doubt about it. I think I just had a really lucky week. Yeah, I got lucky with the luggage. I got really good money on that on Monday, which you need good money because it's it's like multi-drop really, 7 drops, just long distance. But yeah, that helps me out a lot and staying out. Oh, and that includes taking off the 35 quid as well. I've took that off before that final figure. So it indicates, oh, you ain't got that, but you're 35 quid less. No, I'm not. The 35 quid was I'll take that off, and I'll take off any tolls, which I didn't have any last week. Let's have a look. No, I didn't have any. I'm going to have one tomorrow, straight away. Dartford Bridge, £3, £3, £2.60, whatever it is. I did. I had the congestion in London, which again, on the Friday, because I was in central London, but I took that off as well. So yeah, you take off the bits and pieces because that's not what you've made, because you have to take them off. They're expenses. No, a good week, and let's hope it continues. I've got a full week next week, like I say. So I hope you're all doing well. Like I say, it's all unedited. I don't edit anything. I don't cut, and I don't do all that. A, I ain't got time, and B, I just haven't got the technical ability, I don't think. And thanks for your subscribers. I think you have to, if you want to subscribe, I much appreciate it. I think I've got 770 of you now, which is fantastic. I appreciate it. Any questions, I do try and answer them. It may not be that day, it may not be the next day. It's when I look through them and get a chance to do it, but I will try and answer all your questions. Honestly, it may not be the truth, as in it's what I do. It may not be the same for you, but I'm just giving you my opinion. So take it as it is. I've been doing this now 2.5 years. Don't know everything. I don't know half of everything, but I just try and help people so that you don't make the same mistakes that we've all made. When we all still make, but we try and only make the mistake once. But again, I'm rambled on 34 minutes. Like I say, I hope you had a good weekend, and like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Cheers.